Hey, good morning, everybody. We're going to give folks a few minutes here to get into the Zoom meeting, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, looks like we got some folks filling in the room here, so we'll just give it another minute, minute and a half here. Make sure that everyone gets in and gets settled, and we'll go ahead and get started here in a minute. All right, just another 30 seconds here, folks. Make sure some of the late folks can get in here. All right. Well, we're about 2 after the hour here, so we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to kick off our NetSuite Coffee and Learn series that we put together here at Oasis. Ultimately, they're just some short demos that we have scheduled throughout the rest of the year and then into next year about different areas of NetSuite that we might want to learn a little bit more about. Today, with it being August and everyone's going back to school now, summer's winding to an end. Today, we're doing Getting Schooled with NetSuite CRM. All right, from an agenda standpoint, team, we'll do quick introductions. We'll get into just a couple of slides to kind of set up what we're going to look at today in NetSuite, just a solution overview, and then a couple leading practice process flow slides. From there, we're going to jump right into NetSuite and get into the demo. We'll start with just a little bit of a NetSuite overview, some dashboard, user interface, that sort of thing, a couple minutes on that. From there, we're going to lead into the CRM portion of the demo. We're going to talk about lead tracking and prospect tracking in NetSuite. How do we track activities against these leads and prospects? Ultimately, how do we define an opportunity, and then how do we send out a quote or an estimate? And then we're actually going to circle back around at the end of the demo and look at a customer 360 or customer record. Look at this concept the NetSuite has of customer 360 and getting that holistic view of all the different data elements with your individual customers. Well, and guys, there's a chat. So if you have any questions during the demo, please feel free to enter them into the chat. We'll circle back around at the end of the demo and answer any questions the team might have. And then I definitely want to find out if anyone is planning on going to Sweet World this year, and if so, we would definitely like to know so we could meet up. We're sending a small team there as well this year. All right, let's get into the introduction. So my name is Ryan Balser. I'm a principal consultant and solution architect here at Oasis Solution. The dual role in my title represents the dual hats that I wear in the practice. So from a principal consultant standpoint, team, I'm still very heavily involved in the delivery side, so large-scale implementations of NetSuite. From a solution architect, I also support our sales team. So getting to meet some leads and prospects during the sales cycle and doing a little bit of requirements gathering and putting together demos for our sales team. I've been with Oasis for going on about 2 years now. Been in the NetSuite ecosystem for almost 12. Um, I found NetSuite about 12 years ago. I worked for a light manufacturer, 3PL, in the Columbus, Ohio area. We were looking to implement a new ERP. We chose NetSuite. We implemented, managed that environment for about a year and a half. Ultimately, was looking for a new challenge in my career, so left to become a consultant to help other companies implement and leverage NetSuite. I am actually based out of Columbus, Ohio, but I'm actually traveling today, and I'm down here in Texas, and it's a lot hotter in Texas than it is in the Midwest. All right, so what are we going to look at? So from a solutions overview, I like the slide because it kind of represents NetSuite to me, right? And a lot of times when before we implement NetSuite, we walk into companies and we see that they have some financial management, some sort of accounting software. They probably have some sort of CRM, right? So, maybe a Salesforce or maybe, any sort of CRM to do their lead tracking. They're going to do something for their payables, so they're going to have a way to track their payables, right, and purchases and that sort of thing. Maybe they do some marketing, maybe some case management as well. But this slide really represents the breadth and the depth of NetSuite to me. So the power of NetSuite is having the capability to have all these different functionalities all on a single platform, right? And so today we're focusing on CRM, so over here in lead to quote. And a lot of times, companies, even after they implement NetSuite in the phase one, they still might be leveraging a third party or an outside CRM. The problem with that is that you're with a disparate CRM system, right? You're capturing all this sales data, but then once that once that quote or estimate turns into an actual sales order, then it's flipped over into the financial system, right? And you kind of lose visibility of all of that sales data. So today I want to show you how we can leverage the built-in CRM in NetSuite to get that more holistic view of all the different touch points that we have. From a lead to a prospect, and then ultimately when they become a customer, and we can track that as well. This is our stairway slide. So I know, team, we have a lot of folks that registered today that we have already implemented NetSuite for in a phase one. A lot of times when we go through implementations, we kind of picture the go live for phase one as being the finish line. Well, we're here today to tell you guys we don't really believe that. We believe that the go live for phase one is really the starting point, because once you land in NetSuite, you're able to expand. And I think that's probably why a lot of the folks are here on the call today. You're leveraging NetSuite for core financials, for AR, for AP, and we're looking at other ways to expand NetSuite into our organization. CRM is a great example of something that we would come in with a phase two and implement CRM for phase two. All right, lead to order. What are we going to look at when we jump over into the application? So ultimately, from a CRM perspective, we're going to have a lead, right? And we can manage leads, we can manage different touch points that we have with those leads, but ultimately through those touch points and those conversations that we have with the lead, we're going to be able to create opportunities. So we're going to identify an opportunity to sell to this lead. Once we get through some more negotiations and hone in on exactly what that opportunity is going to turn into a quote or an estimate, and that's that client-facing document that we would send for an estimate, right? All of this data then goes into feed sales pipelines, so we have an idea of what we have coming down the pipe from a sales perspective. And ultimately, once the customer accepts that quote, it becomes a sales order or some sort of order in NetSuite, and then that feeds into the order to cash. And so if we're using a third-party disparate CRM, this right here is kind of that demarcation line, right? Once that estimate turns into an order, we no longer in the CRM have visibility into the fulfillment or into that order. Likewise, from an operations standpoint, right? If we have the order in our ERP, we don't necessarily see that sales information that came along with it. So that's going to be the power that we see of having that CRM all in the same database, all in the same application as your ERP. All right, from a quote management. So we talked about opportunities for a second in that last slide. I'm going to actually talk a little bit more about opportunities when we get into the demo as well. But ultimately, from a quote or an estimate management, we're going to determine if there's an opportunity that already exists. If there is, we're going to convert that opportunity into a quote. If there is not an underlying opportunity, we can just go ahead and create that quote against that lead as well. Right? Once we have that quote, we need to define the items that we want to sell. That's going to determine the item pricing and what we're charging for that customer for that order. We then save the quote, and we can then email that quote directly from NetSuite to our prospect, so they can review. And then ultimately in NetSuite, once they accept that quote, we will then convert that quote to a sales order, and then it automatically feeds into the order to cash leading practice flow. Once we have an order and that lead then becomes a customer, we're going to circle back at the end of this demo and review kind of a more mature, robust customer record in NetSuite, so that we can see the things like or the different data elements that we can hold on that customer record in our ERP. So things like what type of customer, do we have any relationships with that customer? So what are those contacts? Who are those people that we need to reach out to at that customer if we have any questions? And we have various other classifications that we can define the customers with. From a financial setup, right, the customer record holds all of our AR account information. It holds their payment types and their payment terms. Are they net 15, net 30? What kind of currency, right? Are they paying in single currency and multi-currency? Holds all the tax and all the credit limit information as well. Along from a logistics standpoint, right? The bill to, the ship to, and any type of shipping information that we might see or that we might need for that particular customer. All right, I'm going to get out of the slides and I'm going to jump right into the product. So team, you should be seeing my my NetSuite instance. Again, you can see that I'm logged. Again, the majority of the folks that I saw registered for this event are already leveraging NetSuite. So you understand that NetSuite is a cloud-based ERP. There is no on-prem version. So you don't need any messy VPNs that connect back to a database, right? All you need is um, all you need is a web browser and an internet connection, and from anywhere in the world, you can log on and access your NetSuite instance. All right, team. I am logged in currently as a user named Will Clark, and he has a sales role. Because I'm logged in as Will Clark and I'm logged in as a sales role, my dashboard is going to be very tactical for sales information, right? So my KPIs and my reminders, they're all going to be very sales-centric, sales-focused, so to speak. I'm not going to go too much into dashboards and navigation because the majority of the folks on this demo are already using NetSuite, but just a couple things to draw your attention to if you're not currently leveraging these in NetSuite. From a navigation standpoint, I wanted to draw your attention to the top center here, which is our global search. Our global search in NetSuite, I consider Google for our NetSuite account. Every record that we have in NetSuite is indexed. So if I wanted to look for, let's say, a customer with the name Smith in it, I could go to customers, relationships, customers, and I could have a list that I would go search and find the customer that I'm looking for. Very rarely do I, if I ever use this ribbon navigation to find what I'm looking for, because I would leverage a global search first. So if I was looking for a customer with the name Smith in it, I could come to global search and I could type Smith. You can see it's going to return a handful of results, some contacts. There are some customers. There's even some sales tax items with the name Smith in them. I can actually filter the results that I see from my global search by using the first 3 letters of the record type that I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for a customer with the name Smith, I would type in CUS for customer, colon, and then I type in Smith. And now you can see it's filtering the results that I see just for customers with the name Smith. So global search team, if you're not currently leveraging it to find records in NetSuite, I highly recommend that you get used to or get some practice in using global search to find what you're looking for. All the way over on the left-hand side, we also have our recent records. Looks like a little 3/4 of a clock with an arrow. As we're kind of going about our day-to-day in NetSuite and we jump from records to records, we leave little breadcrumbs behind. So if I was from a sales perspective, if I was on a lead record and then I jumped to an estimate and then I jumped to an order and I wanted to get back to that lead that I was just recently on, I'd be able to leverage my recent records to find the lead that I was looking for. All right, from a dashboard perspective, team, again, we're utilizing NetSuite already, so I won't go too deep into the dashboards, but the different portlets that we have can help give us information or get a quick thumb on the pulse of the health of an area within our organization, in this particular instance, sales. So again, from a KPI perspective, how's my sales doing this month compared to last month? New leads this month compared to last month, right? Again, very easily, I can jump into NetSuite and get a thumb on the pulse for the health of our sales pipeline. Our reminders port that also, team, we're going to see that a little bit as we get to the end of the process flow for our lead to order scenario, but our reminders team can really drive our day-to-day business, right? So if I have any calls that I need to complete, any estimates that I need to print, any sales orders that I've generated that I need to print and send to the customer, those are all going to be in our reminders. And as we complete these reminders, they're going to tick down from 3 to 2 to 1 and eventually fall off of our reminders portlet. All right, team, I know that we have already leveraged, most of us are already leveraging NetSuite. So let's jump right into the CRM portion. I'm going to pull up a lead record that we have in NetSuite here. And this lead record is for Celestial Consulting, right? It's a lead, and I can see that they're a lead because that is the status on the record here. Again, on the lead record, we would be able to track the data elements that you would expect to see, right? That you would track on any sort of lead or customer in NetSuite. I'm actually going to circle back at the end of the demo and dive deeper into one of these records. But for now, I wanted to bring us down to the communications subtab and the activities sublist on our lead record. So from a CRM perspective, right, I have the ability to log tasks or log phone calls or generate a future phone call and then assign it to somebody, right? And I have the ability to track all this activity on these lead records. So a real life scenario use case for this is I was in an organization and they had a larger sales team. And leadership wanted to get visibility into what is the sales team doing? What's the activities that they're doing on a weekly basis? Right. So they would leverage NetSuite, and the sales team would come in here. And if they have a phone call with a lead, they would log it here. They might assign a task, right? A sales manager might assign a task to a sales member or a sales rep to follow up with this lead. And they would have the ability to click here, generate a new task. They'd have the ability to assign that task to anyone else on their Salesforce team and be able to give it a start date and an end date, right? That task is then going to show up on that person's reminders dashboard that they have a task that they need to complete today. And again, in doing all of this, you're logging all this activity on these lead records, so you can very easily pop in and see what are those different touch points, what are those different conversations that we've had with this particular lead. Also, from a leadership perspective, in that use case that I was talking about, leadership wanted to see a report every week of the different activity from all their sales reps. So we were very easily, right, if we're tracking leads and phone calls and tracking those CRM tasks in NetSuite, we very easily have the ability to generate a activity by sales rep report, and we can automate that report to go out every Saturday at noon, right? And then leadership will have the ability to go back and understand what all their sales team is out there doing, right? Who they're talking to, that sort of thing. All right, like I said, we're going to circle back to this to a record like this towards the end of the demo. But essentially, if I'm on the sales team and I have this lead, I've been talking to Celestial Consulting here, right? I've identified an opportunity to sell to them. So I would be able to, from the record, generate an opportunity. Probably one of the most common questions I get are, what's the difference between an opportunity and an estimate? Well, an opportunity is kind of that underlying transaction where, you know what, we're talking to this lead. I'm going to say this is we're going to try and sell this lead some iPads. So we'll call this an iPad opportunity for your sales team. And I will make sure I spell everything correctly here on the demo. All right, so what's the difference between an opportunity and a quote? So from an opportunity perspective, I have the ability to come and do line items. So I can say, you know what, I know I want to sell, I know what iPads I want to sell this particular lead, but maybe I don't yet, right? Maybe I don't know those line items, but I know that they're interested in purchasing something, or they're interested in us performing some sort of service. But again, I just don't have that line level detail quite yet. I can create an opportunity record and I can say, you know what, this is about a $10,000 opportunity, right? Again, I don't have to detail out the lines. I'm just saying lump sum. I've talked to this lead. I have there's definitely some synergy there. There's definitely an opportunity there. Probably going to be about $10,000, but I'm not exactly sure what those individual line items or services are going to be that we're going to sell this particular lead. So again, I can just put it down as a projected total. This then can feed into my pipeline, right? So when I'm looking at my pipeline, I can see that this opportunity is out there and exists. We also have statuses in NetSuite. In these statuses, we can define ourselves, right? But these statuses are tied to the probability and then ultimately tied to our weighted total over here. So again, if this opportunity is in the status of in discussion, it's a 20% probability. So my weighted total is $2,000 or 20% of my projected total. As I'm in discussion with this, lead, I have the ability to move the status along. And maybe when I identify the decision maker, my probability goes from 20 to 30, which then affects my weighted total, right? So we do have the ability to define statuses and then ultimately to define the probability associated with that status. Again, feeds our pipeline and our weighted total. Okay, that's all I need to fill out for here. So I'm going to go ahead and save this record. And I will have an opportunity saved in NetSuite. Now, I'm going to real quick jump back to that lead record that we were just looking at a minute ago. And now you can see that it's no longer just a lead because we have an opportunity against this lead. It is now a prospect, right? So we're kind of moving the status of this lead along from lead to prospect and then ultimately to customer. Okay, so jumping back here on my opportunity record team, again, here is our opportunity for to sell some iPads right to the new sales team at Celestial Consulting. Ultimately, I do through negotiation, we kind of hone in on exactly what they're looking to purchase, and from there, I can generate an estimate from this opportunity. All right, when I do that, team, you can see that I don't have to copy over all that information manually. All the information from that opportunity flows over to this estimate that I created. Again, I still have my status and my probability. I can have an expiration date that I set on this particular estimate. But from here, this is where I would go in and I would start to define what are those items that we're going to be selling this customer. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click add multiple so I can actually see inventory levels as well. Come down here to our iPads. I can see we have this 13-inch iPad. I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what? We talked to them. They need about 10 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and add that particular line to my quote or my estimate, right? And from here, I'll go ahead and save that estimate. All right, so I had a lead. I was in negotiations with that lead. We created an opportunity. There was some synergy there. We knew we wanted to sell them something. So we created an opportunity. We started discussing a little bit more and we found out that there was we kind of honed in on exactly what they were looking to purchase and we generated that estimate. Now, how do I communicate this estimate to the lead or to the prospect that I was talking to? I can come down here and on my communications subtab, I have the ability to generate an email. So from NetSuite team, I can generate emails. The nice thing about generating an email from NetSuite is that it allows you to easily communicate with the customer from within your ERP. So again, I can define my recipients. It's going to pull the email address from that particular record. I can override it here. I can CC other people in my company. I can CC other people at the client site as well. I can come here. I can free-form out the body of my email. So here is your estimate for the iPads, right? And then I also have the ability to attach the transaction itself, right? How do I want to attach it? Do I want to attach it inline in the email? Do I want to do it HTML? Maybe I want to do it as an attachment as a PDF. So I'm going to go ahead and hit merge and send, and two things are going to happen. First, this email is going to get sent to that prospect that we were talking to and it's going to contain the estimate. It's also going to get it's also going to get logged here on the estimate record itself, right? Now, the next nice thing about generating an email from NetSuite, so once we send this email and Celestial Consulting receives it, if they reply to that email, two things are going to happen, team. Since the email was originated in NetSuite to begin with, when the customer replies to that email, I'm going to get a copy of it in my inbox because I generated the email from NetSuite. but the reply is also going to get logged here on the estimate record itself. So now if anyone has any questions on the communication that we've had, maybe the client looked at the estimate, had some questions, replied back with those questions, we replied back with the answers to those questions, that running conversation gets logged right here. Now, if anyone has any questions about what's going on with this estimate, they don't have to come to me and say, hey, forward me all the emails that you've had with this, with this prospect. I want to see what's going on with the estimate. They can just come right here to the estimate in NetSuite and see that running conversation. All right, so now that we have generated that estimate, right, the email went out, the customer reviewed it, and they said, yep, that looks good. Let's go ahead and convert that over. We accept that estimate. Let's go ahead and convert that into an order. Again, from a traditional CRM setup that's disparate, not disparate, that's not in our ERP, that's kind of where CRM stops, right? It stops with that estimate. There's really not an outbound order concept in most CRMs. In NetSuite, though, from this estimate, we can very easily click one button and generate this or create a sales order from this particular estimate. So again, I'm not copying information over from our CRM software into our ERP. It's all native. It all flows together. It's all connected. So generate that sales order. Again, it pulls over all the information from that estimate. I'm not retyping anything. And I go ahead and hit save. Once I hit save, we're going to have an order. But again, it's going to be, it's not an open order. It's pending approval. Right. So again, because our CRM is integrated with the ERP, we can leverage all the capabilities that we have in the ERP itself. So maybe because this is pending approval, maybe all sales orders need to go to my manager to review before they're approved. And we can very easily accomplish that in NetSuite. All I have to do is jump over into a sales manager role. So I was in a sales role. Now I'm jumping over into my sales manager role. And I'm going to use my reminders to alert me that I have a sales order that somebody created that needs to be approved. So again, I can click on here. Here's that sales order that we just created. I can go ahead and review that sales order. Here's the sales order. I can review it. It all looks good. I can go ahead and hit approve. And now I'm going to have a sales order that's pending fulfillment. So you can see from a connectivity or from a synergy perspective, right, that leading process flow, our lead to quote, all of our CRM stuff flows right into the ERP. So now this order is pending fulfillment and ready to ship out. All right. So with the time that we have remaining here, team, I want to circle up and I want to look at a kind of a more mature customer record that we have in this account. So I'm going to look at this Blockster. This is again, this is a demo account, but here is a customer record that we have in NetSuite. And I think this kind of really drives home the power of having all these different modules within the same ERP. So here's a customer record. Now, things to note, right? Once the lead, right, once we actually create that sales order against that lead that we looked at earlier, that lead now is a customer. And so that's the same record, it just changes status. So all the information that we were tracking during the sales cycle still will live on this customer record even after they become a customer, right? So what does that actually look like in practicality? Well, again, in the header, we see all the typical things that you'd be used to seeing that you'd want to track on a customer, right? Who's the sales rep, what's their email address, phone number, addresses, that sort of thing. But when we scroll down here and we get into some of the subtabs, team, this is where I think the power really is demonstrated. So from the sales subtab, I can see every transaction that I've ever had with this customer. Again, that's from when they're a customer. Also shows all the sales transactions, so all the opportunities, all those estimates, right? They're all listed on this customer record. I can see holistically all the different items that this customer has ever purchased for us or from us. I can see the sales team, right? Do we have team selling or do we do a one-to-one relationship, sales rep to customer? NetSuite can support both. From a financial standpoint, again, here's where I'm defining all the terms, right? Any credit limit that I might have with this customer. of that credit limit, what's available, right? How much credit do they have available based off of their open invoices with us? I can even see some deposit information down here as well. Price level, here's a good one. So from a CRM perspective, right, we can define different price levels for different customers. Maybe some of our larger customers get a little bit bigger of a discount because they purchase more from us. So we can associate price levels with the customer, and then whenever we write a estimate or whenever we write a sales order for that particular customer, it will automatically pull the correct pricing in for those items based off of the price level that we define. I do want to jump over to this last tab here, and this is where we'll kind of wrap up this portion of the demo. It's the Customer 360 tab. So again, having all this information for this one entity, all those touch points, all those calls, right, all those orders, everything that we bought, everything, all the money that we collected, having all that in one system allows us to create this Customer 360 tab, which gives us a customer scorecard. So we can see the number of orders, the number of fulfillments, the number of invoices, right? What was their last year's sales compared to this year to date sales? What open sales orders might we have with this particular customer, right? Do we have any open invoices or open credits? Again, what are those top sold items that we might have with this customer, right? Of all the items that they purchase or services that they purchase, what are the top? Maybe 12-month sales, right? I can actually see, is there any seasonality that I have, right? Is this customer ordering more in the fall than it is in the springtime, that sort of thing. So again, since when you have an ERP like NetSuite, where there's all these different touch points and all these different modules that you're able to record data on, all that data gets tracked on the same record, right? And so you always have visibility into that into that information in NetSuite. All right, I'm going to do a quick check of the time. I'm 2 minutes over, so I apologize, but I appreciate everyone's time here. I'm going to pop into the chat here and see if there are any questions that we have. I do see one. Customer 360 is only available in one world, correct? I wish there was a way. Wish they would release this the standard edition. So it's actually a suite. It's a part of the Suite Success SKU. So Roy, I appreciate that comment. We can take that down and we can look. Well, yeah, we'll take that offline and I'll try and get you an answer. I don't know the SKU that you guys are in particularly right now, but yeah, that's something that we'll take a look at and we'll try and get an answer to you. Real quick, before we log off, if anyone on the recording is planning on attending Sweet World, it's coming up here in just a couple weeks here in Vegas. Please reach out to us, reach out to Falana, reach out to Robin, our client success manager, and let us know, because if you're gonna be attending Sweet World, we would love to try and meet up with you guys. Have some conversations about maybe some different initiatives that you're looking to accomplish or what you're looking to learn while you're at Sweet World. So if anyone out there is planning on attending, please let us know. Team, that wraps up our coffee talk, coffee and learn, the first in our series. Next, we have one coming up on October 15th. I think Falana just dropped the link in the chat. So by all means, team, if you found any value in this, even if you didn't, I promise the other consultants are going to be doing this series are going to provide even more value than I am. So by all means, team, October 15th, link is in the chat. If anyone has any questions after this, by all means, reach out to us, reach out to Falana, reach out to myself, and we will be more than happy to get you the answers to those questions. If CRM is something that you guys are thinking about doing, right, something that an initiative that you want to tackle here in the near future, by all means, reach out to us. We would love to talk to you a little bit more about your requirements, about what the goals are, right? What are those headaches that we're looking to solve? And ultimately, we would love to help you guys out with the implementation of CRM in NetSuite. Appreciate it, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you.